Good morning, community. Hope everybody had a great weekend, Father's Day weekend. So happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Let's get started with um, making a quick review from last week's plan. If you recall, last week I posted the weekly plan around 6:24 a.m. Um, and this is where plan was posted. Somewhere in here, obviously, this is just RTH hours. So it was before this candle was printed. Let me just bring this back into a perspective here. We want to talk a little bit about that. So RTH opened right around 43.58. Pivot was 51, which is this line right here. Um, we touched the pivot and we never looked back. That was last week. And if you take a look at the move from last week, from 51 all the way up to almost the 4,500, that was a 142 points move last week. And the drawdown was technically zero because the low of this candle right here around 10:30 a.m. was 4351.25. That was the pivot from last week. Pretty interesting, right? As you can see, the market just kept going up and up, and it didn't come back down to revisit, any key levels or anything. Uh, you know, I know a lot of people out there use FIPS. I use them too for certain things. If you measure this from here to here, normally my ideal target is the 141 extension. Um, this one got to here, it retraced to the 618 right here. This was a perfect scenario, um, and then went back up in 41.75. 76 was the extension 141. It actually hit the 618. I have it at 62, but if it was 618, it would have been the perfect hit at 43.90, 43.94. And got to 43.90, 350. So it is a great tool to use for measuring purposes. Normally, the way I trade it is that if I were to go long here, I'll use this line right here, the 15, as my stop. So that would have been a 14-point stop. The 115, because I know that if it gets a little deeper to the extension, 113, then 115 will cover two or three ticks below that. This is my visual profile indicator. So what you see here, every time you see a yellow candle, that means that we close with a spike. Every time you see a purple candle, that means, oh, this is a yellow candle spike up, and purple candle spike down. I'm going to remove the fibs from here, and let's focus on some of the things. In my visual profile indicator, I have a hybrid version of fair value gaps and single print. So these blue zones that you see are 30-minute fair value gap or single prints. How do I know the difference? Obviously, you go over here and you look at the market profile and you take a look. And if it looks like really skinny in the area, it's single print. And if it looks a little big over here, that's a fair value gap. So let's go back over here and take a look in this area here. This is how skinny this is here. So this is a single print. You have two sets of singles here. You got this one here and you got this one here. This one stands from 4168.75 all the way up to 4374.50, and then the other one starts from 4376.50 to 4381. So those are singles. All right, so let's get into the targets. Last week's target we had 43.71. So from here, from 51, we got here to 43.71. That target was hit. It actually was we opened here, so the high of this candle here, 43.71. We hit that session high from Friday, and then 43.90. We hit 43.90, which was from my visual market profile. This was either this red line that you see here was either a high from a previous session, RTH session, or a double top or a poor high. Sorry, poor high. So those are the visuals that I look for, and then 44.40, which end up being another session high, which is right over here. 33 was, I got 55. It was this high, same thing, red line, either the high from a previous session in the past, uh, or a poor high, or a double top. So the market just continued repeat mode, and it just got all the way up here, and then we got a little bit of a pullback on this area here. Now, as you saw the pattern completing at a 162 extension, Fibonacci extension, right all the way up here, we have some structural issues that I believe they're likely to get some action into that area. But the first thing you need to identify is, like, you take a look at the profile and you notice that there's volume build up here. You get volume up here, which end up being the POC. This being the second largest area up here, 43.75, and then you got some high value nodes right here. One's here, one is here. But the two important levels, in my opinion, are going to be obviously the POC where most of the volume was traded, which is right around here, 40, 44.14, and then this level here, which happens to be near the value area high. That level is 44.75. Right now the ES is trading 44.50, so 75 being up here, it open up possibilities to price being accepted above the value area high from last week, and potentially seeing higher prices this week. So let's get back into the targets. So the targets for this week, you see a high value node here. This is a low value node here, and I believe that 44.45 for me is the key level for next week. And I'm going to be pivoting from this level here, 44.45, and I'm going to be looking for this area here, 44.87 as a target number one. And I'm going to be looking for 45.10 as a target number two, and 45.40 as a target number three. You have to go deep into 2021 and 2020, obviously, just to see what kind of activity took place around this level, because we haven't been up here in a very long time. Does the market lose exhausted here? I don't know. I don't normally look for those clues, but all I know is that if we lose 44.40, then there's a possibility for us to see the POC for last week, which is 44.15. And I know that it's a possibility that we may see this spike being revisited. As you can see, this spike here provided support when price came down into the zone. I believe we traded this 43.87, 44.83 was pivot that this particular day. I can probably find it somewhere. You know what? Let me find it right now. So this was Wednesday. It's really not hard to find. 43, that would have been Wednesday, uh, Wednesday the 14th. Yeah, right here. 44.20. That's 14, 44.20. No, it was, that would have been for Thursday. See what we got here. Nah, a 43.47 was the third target. And from here, that's where we bounced from that target. That was during FOMC. I know Dwight and some other people took a loan from 85 in this zone right here, and that happens to be the low of the session. You can see copy image. You can see how T3 was the FOMO was released during the market hours. So you can see the activity that it took place that day. And 43.87 was our, considering obviously the news, if you take a look at that, 43.87 was right here. And this definitely was your long entry. And the market from there went up uh, approximately 100 and something points, 104 points. So very good. If you traded that, you should be really proud of yourself for trusting the daily and the weekly plans. So weekly plan is finished. So we're basically done with that. Um, I have another indicator I'll show you. It's called the opening range dominator. And what you see here is that this gray zone, the grayed out zone, is a zone in which the first 30 minutes opened up, and if it's graded out above, it means that we have not traded through that session just yet. So if we were to go back up here, as you can see, I have a target of 45.10. That's my second target for this week. It will fulfill or mitigate the opening range 30-minute opening range from previous session in the past, and then we'll see what will happen when we get there. Same thing over here. This is a 30-minute opening, and you can see that I have a target here, 44.14. So if we were to trade below 44.14, there's a possibility that we may see a an overshot into this area here, 4407, which happens to be an incomplete or unmitigated opening range session, from a session. I apologize. There's another opening range here in this area. As you can see, 4351. 4351 is the opening range that has not been filled yet. So that's a lot of opportunities, obviously, and these indicators are awesome. They allow me to to look at some areas of interest that the market definitely will revisit. It doesn't mean that it has to happen this week, but there are areas of opportunities for us to find high probability setups. So basically, for this week, all we got, and if you got my indicator, um, which is a JD trading plan. I can just basically go here. I know it looks a little overwhelming now, but we'll show you how to use it. So we're gonna say the weekly pivot. We talked about that. It was gonna be 44.45. So 44.45 was a weekly pivot. Last week value area high was 44.70, based on value profile 68. 44.68 based on volume profile. Value area low last week was 43.80, um, 43.80, and last week's POC was 44.16, which is perfect with our target here, 44.15. So you can see how the opening range dominator comes into play, because it's very close to this POC for last week. The targets that we're looking for above the pivot is going to be 44.87, 44.87. The second target is going to be 45.10, and I believe the third target is 45, 45.40. So we go back over here and we type 45.40 here, and then here in this area, below the pivot is going to be target number one, 44.15. Target number two is 43.80. Um, and target number three is last week's pivot, which is 43, 51. That's basically all we got for next week's plan. So let's go ahead and have a good time. Thank you. Bye bye.